Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read Matthew 16 to 20, Proverbs 3, and Psalm 63. Let's get started. The Pharisees and Sadducees came to test Jesus. They asked him to show them a sign from heaven. He replied, "In the evening you look at the sky. You say, it will be in good weather. The sky is red. And in the morning you say, today it will be stormy. The sky is red and cloudy. You know the meaning of what you see in the sky, but you can't understand the signs of what is happening right now. Any evil and unfaithful people will look for a sign, but none will be given to them except the sign of Jonah." Then Jesus left them and went away. The disciples crossed over to the other side of the lake. They had forgotten to take bread. "Be careful," Jesus said to them. "Watch out for the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees." The disciples talked about this among themselves. They said, "We must be saying this because we didn't bring any bread." Jesus knew what they were saying, so he said, "Your faith is so small. Why are you talking to each other about having no bread? Don't you understand yet? Don't you remember the 5 loaves for the 5,000? Don't you remember how many baskets of pieces you gathered? Don't you remember the 7 loaves for the 4,000? Don't you remember how many baskets of pieces you gathered? How can you possibly not understand? I wasn't talking to you about bread, but watch out for the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees." Then the disciples understood that Jesus was not telling them to watch out for the yeast used in bread. He was warning them against what the Pharisees and Sadducees taught. Jesus went to the area of Caesar or Philippi. There he asked his disciples, "Who do people say the Son of Man is?" They replied, "Some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, still others say Jeremiah or one of the prophets. But what about you?" he asked. "Who do you say I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah. You are the Son of the living God." Jesus replied, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah. No mere human showed this to you, and my Father in heaven showed it to you. Here's what I tell you. You are Peter. On this rock I will build my church. The gates of hell will not be strong enough to destroy it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. What you lock on earth will be locked in heaven. What you unlock on earth will be unlocked in heaven." Then Jesus ordered his disciples not to tell anyone that he was the Messiah. From that time on, Jesus began to explain to his disciples what would happen to him. He told them he must go to Jerusalem. There he must suffer many things from the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of law. He must be killed and on the 3rd day rise to life again. Peter took Jesus to one side and began to scold him. "Never, Lord," he said. "This will never happen to you." Jesus turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You are standing in my way. You do not have in mind the thing God cares about. Instead, you only have in mind the things humans care about." Then Jesus spoke to his disciples. He said, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must say no to themselves. They must pick up their cross and follow me. Whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. What good is it if someone gains the whole but loses their soul? What can anyone trade for their soul? The Son of Man is going to come in his Father's glory. His angels will come with him, and he will reward everyone in keeping with what they have done. What I am about to tell you is true. Some who are standing here will not die before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom." After 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John the brother of James, with him. He led them up a high mountain. They were all alone. There in front of him, his appearance was strange. His face shone like the sun. His clothes became as white as snow. Just then Moses and Elijah appeared in front of him. Moses and Elijah were talking with Jesus. Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will put up 3 shelters. One will be for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While Peter was still speaking, a bright cloud covered them. A voice from the cloud said, "This is my son, and I love him. I am very pleased with him. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they were terrified. They fell with their faces to the ground. But Jesus came and touched them. "Get up," he said. "Don't be afraid." When they looked up, they saw no one except Jesus. They came down the mountain. On the way down, Jesus told them what to do. "Don't tell anyone what you have seen," he said. "Wait until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." The disciples asked him, "Why do the teachers of the law say that Elijah has to come first?" Jesus replied, "That's right. Elijah is supposed to come and make all things new again. But I tell you, Elijah has already come. People didn't recognize him. They have done to him everything they wanted to do. In the same way, they are going to make the Son of Man suffer." Then the disciples understood that Jesus was talking to them about John the Baptist. When they came near the crowd, a man approached Jesus. He got on his knees in front of him. "Lord," he said, "have mercy on my son. He shakes wildly and suffers a great deal. He often falls into the fire or into the water. I brought him to your disciples, but they couldn't heal him." "You unbelieving and evil people," Jesus replied. "How long do I have to stay with you? How long do I have to put up with you? Bring the boy here to me." Jesus ordered the demon to leave the boy, and it came out of him. He was healed at that moment. Then the disciples came to Jesus in private. They asked, "Why couldn't we drive out the demon?" He replied, "Because your faith is much too small. What I'm about to tell you is true. If your faith is small as a mustard seed, it is enough. You can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." They came together in Galilee. Then Jesus said to them, "The Son of Man is going to be handed over to men. They will kill him. On the third day he will rise from the dead." Then the disciples were filled with deep sadness. Jesus and his disciples arrived in Capernaum. There the people who collected the temple tax came to Peter. They asked him, "Doesn't your teacher pay the temple tax?" "Yes, he does," he replied. When Peter came into the house, Jesus spoke first. "What do you think, Simon?" he asked. "Who do the kings of the earth collect taxes and fees from? Do they collect them from their own children or from others?" "From others," Peter answered. "Then children don't have to pay," Jesus said to him. "But we don't want to make them angry. So go to the lake and throw out your fishing net. Take the first fish you catch, open its mouth. There you will find the exact coin you need. Take it and give it to them for my tax and yours." At that time the disciples came to Jesus. They asked him, "Then who is the most important in the kingdom of heaven?" Jesus called a little child over to him. Let the child stand among them. Jesus said, "What I'm about to tell you is true. You need to change and become like little children. If you don't, you'll never enter the kingdom of heaven. Anyone who takes the humble position of this child is the most important in the kingdom of heaven. Anyone who welcomes a little child is like this one in my name welcomes me. What if someone causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin? If they do, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and be drowned at the bottom of the sea. How terrible it will be for the world because of the things that cause people to sin. Things like that must come. But how terrible for the person who causes them. If your hand or foot causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It would be better to enter the kingdom of heaven with only one hand than to go to hell with two hands. It would be better to enter the kingdom of heaven with only one foot than going to hell with 2 feet. In hell the fire burns forever. If your eye causes you to sin, poke it out and throw it away. It would be better to enter the kingdom of heaven with one eye than to have 2 eyes and be thrown into the fire of hell. See that you don't look down on one of these little ones. Here's what I tell you. The angels in heaven are always with my Father who is in heaven. What do you think? Suppose a man owns 100 sheep and one of them wanders away. Won't he leave the 99 sheep on the hills? Won't he go and look for the one that wandered off? What I'm about to tell you is true. If he finds that sheep, he is happier about the one than about the 99 that didn't wander off. It is the same that with your Father in heaven. He does not want any of these little ones to die. If your brother or sister sins against you, go to them. Tell them what they did wrong. Keep it between the two of them. If they listen to you, you have won them back. But what if they won't listen to you? Then take 1 or 2 others with you. Scripture says, every matter must be proved by the words of 2 or 3 witnesses. But what if they also refuse to listen to the witnesses? Then tell it to the church. And what if they refuse to listen even to the church? Then don't treat them as a brother or sister. Treat them as you would treat an ungodly person or a tax collector. What I'm about to tell you is true. What you lock on earth will be locked in heaven. What you unlock on earth will be unlocked in heaven. Again, here's what I tell you. Suppose 2 of you on earth agree about anything you ask for. My Father in heaven will do it for you. Where 2 or 3 people gather in my name, I am there with them. Peter came to Jesus. He asked, Lord, how many times should I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times? Jesus answered, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. The kingdom of heaven is like a king who wanted to collect all the money his servants owed him. As the king began to do it, a man who owed him 10,000 bags of gold was brought to him. The man was not able to pay, so his master gave an order. The man, his wife, his children, and all he owned had to be sold to pay back what he owed. Then the servant fell on his knees in front of him. Give me time, he begged. I'll pay everything back. His master felt sorry for him. He forgave him what he owed and let him go. But then that servant went out and found one of the other servants who owed him 100 silver coins. He grabbed him and began to choke him. Pay back what you owe me, he said. The other servant fell on his knees. Give me time, he begged him. I'll pay him back. But the first person refused. Instead, he went and had the man thrown into prison. The man would be held there until he could pay back what he owed. The other servants saw what had happened and were very angry. They went and told their master everything that had happened. Then the master called the first servant in. You evil servant, he said. I forgave all that you owed me because you begged me to. Shouldn't you have had mercy on the other servant, just as I had mercy on you? In anger, his master handed him over to the jailers. He would be punished until he paid back everything he owed. This is how my Father in heaven will treat each of you, unless you forgive your brother or sister from your heart. When Jesus finished saying these things, he left Galilee. He went into the area of Judea on the other side of the Jordan River. Large crowds followed him. He healed them there. Some Pharisees came to test Jesus. They asked, Does the law allow a man to divorce his wife for any reason at all? Jesus replied, Haven't you read that in the beginning the Creator made them male and female? He said, That's why a man will leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife. The two will become one. They are no longer two, but one. So no one should separate what God has joined together. They asked, Then why did Moses command that a man can give his wife a letter of divorce and send her away? Jesus replied, Moses let you divorce your wife because you were stubborn, but it was not this way from the beginning. Here's what I tell you. Anyone who divorces his wife and marries another woman commits adultery. A man may divorce his wife only if she is not being faithful to him. Here's what the disciples said to him. If that's the way it is between a husband and wife, it is better not to get married. Jesus replied, Not everyone can accept the idea of staying single. Only those who have been helped to live without getting married can accept it. Some men are not able to have children because they were born that way. Some have been made that way by other people. Others have chosen to live that way in order to serve the kingdom of heaven. The one who can accept this should accept it. Some people brought little children to Jesus. They wanted him to place his hands on the children and pray for them. But the disciples told them not to do it. Jesus said, Let the little children come to me. Don't keep them away. The kingdom of heaven belongs to people like them. Jesus placed his hands on them to bless them. Then he went on from there. Just then a man came up to Jesus. He asked, Teacher, what good thing must I do to receive eternal life? Why do you ask me about what is good? Jesus replied. There is only one who is good. If you want to enter the kingdom, obey the commandments. Which ones? The man asked. Jesus said, Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not be a false witness. Honor your father and mother. And love your neighbor as you love yourself. I have obeyed all those commandments, the young man said. What else do I need to do? Jesus answered, If you want to be perfect, go and sell everything you have. Give the money to those who are poor. You will have treasure in heaven. Then come and follow me. When the young man heard this, he went away sad. He was very rich. Then Jesus said to his disciples, What I am about to tell you is true. It is hard for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of heaven. Again I tell you, it is hard for a camel to go through the eye of a needle, but it is even harder for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God. When the disciples heard it, they were really amazed. They asked, Then who can be saved? Jesus looked at them and said, With people this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Peter answered him, We have left everything to follow you. What reward will be given to us? What I am about to tell you is true, Jesus said. When all things are made new, the Son of Man will sit on his glorious throne. Then you who have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones. You will judge the 12 tribes of Israel. Suppose anyone who has left houses, brothers or sisters, father or mother, husband or wife, children or fields because of me. Anyone who has done that will receive 100 times as much. They will also receive eternal life. But many who are first will be last, and many who are last will be first. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who owed land. He went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. He agreed to give them their usual pay for a day's work. Then he sent them into his vineyard. About 9 o'clock in the morning, he went out again. He saw others standing in the market doing nothing. He told them, "You also go and work in my vineyard. I'll pay you what is right." So they went. He went out again about noon and at 3 o'clock and did the same thing. About 5 o'clock he went out and found still others standing around. He asked them, "Why have you been standing here all day doing nothing?" "Because no one has hired us," they replied. And he said to them, "You also go and work in my vineyard." When evening came, the owner of the vineyard spoke to the person who was in charge of the workers. He said, "Call the workers and give them their pay. Begin with the last ones I hired, then go on to the first ones." The workers who were hired about 5 o'clock came. Each received their usual day's pay. So when those who were hired first came, they expected to receive more, but each of them also received their usual day's pay. When they received it, they began to complain about the owner. "These people who were hired last worked only 1 hour," they said. "You have paid them the same as us. We have done most of the work and have been in the hot sun all day." The owner answered one of them. "Friend," he said, "I'm being fair to you. Do you agree to work for the usual day's pay? Take your money and go. I want to give the one I had last the same pay I gave you. Don't I have the right to do what I want without my own money? Do you feel cheated because I gave so freely to the others?" So those who are last will be first, and those who are first will be last. Jesus was going up to Jerusalem. On the way, he took his 12 disciples to one side to talk to them. We are going up to Jerusalem," he said. "The Son of Man will be handed over to the chief priests and the teachers of the law. They will sentence him to death. Then they will hand him over to the Gentiles. The people will make fun of him and whip him. They will nail him to a cross. On the third day he will rise from the dead." The mother of Zebedee's sons came to Jesus. His sons came with her. Getting on her knees, she asked a favor of him. "What do you want?" Jesus asked. She said, "Promise me that one of my 2 sons may sit at your right hand in your kingdom. Promise that the other one may sit at your left hand." "You don't know what you're asking for," Jesus said to them. "Can you drink the cup of suffering I am going to drink?" "We can," they answered. Jesus said to them, "You'll certainly drink from my cup, but it is not for me to say who will sit at my right or left hand. These places belong to those my Father has prepared them for." The other 10 disciples heard about this. They became angry at the 2 brothers. Jesus called them together. He said, "You know about the rulers of the Gentiles. They have power over their people. The high officials order them around. Don't be like that. Instead, anyone who wants to be important among you must be your servant, and anyone who wants to be first must be your slave. Be like the Son of Man. He did not come to be served. Instead, he came to serve others. He came to give his life as the price for setting many people free." Jesus and his disciples were leaving Jericho. A large crowd followed him. 2 blind men were sitting by the side of the road. They heard that Jesus was going by, so they shouted, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us." The crowd commanded them to stop. They told them to be quiet, but the 2 men shouted even louder, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us." Jesus stopped and called out to them. "What do you want me to do for you?" he asked. "Lord," they answered, "we want to be able to see." Jesus felt deep concern for them. He touched their eyes. Right away they could see, and they followed him. Proverbs 3. "My son, do not forget my teaching. Keep my commands in your heart. They will help you live for many years. They will bring you peace and success. Don't let love and truth ever leave you. Tie them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will find favor and a good name, and the eyes of God people. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. In all your ways obey him. Then he will make your paths smooth and straight. Don't be wise in your own eyes. Have respect for the Lord and avoid evil. That will bring health to your body. It will make your bones strong. Honor the Lord with your wealth. Give him the first share of all your crops. Then your storerooms will be so full they can't hold everything. Your huge jars will spill over with fresh wine. My son, do not hate the Lord's train. Do not object when he corrects you. The Lord trains those he loves. He is like a father who trains the son he is pleased with. Blessed is the one who finds wisdom. Blessed is the one who gains understanding. Wisdom pays better than silver does. She earns more than gold. She is worth more than rubies. Nothing you want can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand, and in her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are pleasant ways. All her paths lead to peace. She is a tree of life to those who take hold of her. Those who hold her close will be blessed. By wisdom the Lord laid the earth's foundations. Through understanding he set the heavens in place. By his knowledge the seas were separated, and the clouds dropped their dew. My son, do not let wisdom and understanding out of your sight. Hold on to good sense and the understanding of what is right. They will be life for you. They will be like a gracious necklace around your neck. Then you will go on your way in safety. You will not trip and fall. When you lie down, you won't be afraid. When you lie down, you will sleep silently. Don't be terrified by sudden trouble. Don't be afraid when sins are destroyed. The Lord will be at your side. He will keep you free from being caught in a trap. Don't hold back good from those who are worthy of it. Don't hold it back when you can help. Suppose you already have something to give. Don't say to your neighbor, come back tomorrow. I'll give it to you then. Don't plan to harm your neighbor. He lives near and trusts you. Don't bring charges against anyone for no reason. They have not harmed you. Don't be jealous of a person who hurts others. Don't choose any of their ways. The Lord really hates simple people. When he makes honest people his closest friends, the Lord puts a curse on the houses of sinners. When he blesses the homes of those who do what is right, he makes fun of proud people who make fun of others, but he gives grace to those who are humble and true about it. Wise people receive honor, but foolish people get only shame. Proverb, Psalm 63. God, you are my God. I seek with all my heart. With all my strength I thirst for you. In this dry desert, where there isn't any water. I have seen you in the secret tent. There I have seen your power and your glory. Your love is better than life, so I will bring glory to you with my lips. I will praise you as long as I live. I'll call on your name when I lift up my hands and pray. I will be satisfied as if I had eaten the best food there is. I'll sing praise to you with my mouth. As I lie on my bed, I remember you. I think of you all night long. Because you have helped me, I sing in the shadow of your wings. I hold on to you tightly. Your powerful right hand takes good care of me. Those who want to kill me will be destroyed. They will go down into the grave. They will be killed by swords. They will become free for wild dogs. But the king will be filled with joy because of what God has done. All those who make promises in God's name will be able to brag, but the mouth of lies will be shut. Now that it's done, I shall now do the Lord's Prayer. Please bow your heads. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as you also forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.